Everybody, welcome back to another edition of Deconstruction Junction, a space sponsored and brought to you by Love and Action Network, where we unpack all the thoughts we've been having during the week. Some of them are things that you all are thinking about on Instagram, on TikTok, out in the world. Some of the things are things that we're thinking about, but we come together every week to say what we got to say about the things that we see and hopefully gain a bit of enlightenment in the world. So we invite you to drop your comments as we see them. We may be able to put them up on screen. It's just be a really, really good time. But before we start, let me introduce myself. I am Dr. Flo. The folks call me Flo. I'm an online coach and mentor who's called to help bold dreamers follow their bliss. If you're out in the world today watching on any of the platforms and you really want to manifest a dream, you want to take action towards your dream, if you want to break your dreams down into bite-sized pieces, I would love to help you get to your own personal mountaintop. And it's a thrill to see people, teaching artists, young student artists, consultants, all sorts of people, librarians, and demonstration experts at Costco and beyond. All kinds of people from all walks of life come through our doors, and we seek to encourage, equip, and empower them to gain the best use out of their time, talent, and treasure. And speaking of treasure and talent and time, the mother of all time, including mine,
Oh no. Oh no. Don't put me
the
in charge of that.
the mother of all time, uh,
Oh
the,
Lord.
the keeper of the keys, Love and Action Network's chief operation officer and partner, and the president and CEO of Terra Olo Studios herself.
Oh
What?
Lord.
Welcome to the space. How are you? Who are you? Where are
I
you?
I am I'm fine. I'm tired. She's tired. She is tired today. I think it's the weather changing. But I'm calling in from good old Minnesota, where it is currently sunny and approximately 53 degrees Fahrenheit and very blustery windy. They don't call us the Windy City. That'd be Chicago, but sometimes we act a little like it. Okay? Okay, don't you know? So, I am also I'm your resident white-facing biracial multi-passionate musician, and I talk I can't even, and I talk about the ish that nobody wants to talk about and push you to do the same.
People love this type of stuff for the ratings. Give it to them. Yeah. Yeah, no. Yeah, no.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah, no. Yeah, no.
some of y'all know that I can sink right into that Minnesota accent there. I've lived here for a number of years now, and I was actually born in this here Twin Cities. Okay, I was born at a local hospital here, and I moved when I was 2, but then I came right back here. Yeah, sure, you betcha. I came right on back for my adult life. Yes,
Yeah,
and
no. Yeah,
today,
no. Yeah, no. Yeah, no. Yeah, no.
you
Yeah,
know,
no.
yeah, no, yeah. They mean different things, and if you can't learn it, then you can't live here. Okay, that's the rules. Skull Vikings, go Timberwolves. That's all I got. Let's deconstruct some stuff.
I think it's back to me. Thank y'all so much for being here. She always has a spicy casserole. Tara Praolo Studio. It is a thrill to be partnering with her for what's going on. I think we're heading into our 4th year of fun. Today is the second year anniversary of me nearly unaliving a cat. And so, if we can overcome the threat of the loss of time, talent, and treasure, then we're gonna be okay in the future. And if you're just joining us, you're in Love and Action Network Deconstruction Junction. We're so grateful that you're here. It is a space where we gather every week with ourselves. Eventually, there's going to be 6 spots, so there's 4 other slots for folks to come and unpack things with us and bring their own magic. But we talk about the things that we see in open spaces that bring us pause and the things that bring us joy and all. Anyway, I'm going to start today with one of these shares. And in fact, because we don't operate in salacious, well, not at least not on. I don't do it. I don't do salacious things in public. And so, since there's nothing salacious or naughty in our notes, I think that we could just share our notes with the people today, if that's okay. Okay, so here's the and visuals help. And if y'all want copies of any of this stuff, just DM Tara Praolo Studio, TARAPRIOLO, or Andre in the Flow. And yeah, we would love to share. Okay, so my first piece to deconstruct today is nothing is forever, you silly bitch. Nothing is forever, you silly bitch. I'm just reading the notes, you guys. We came out the gate swinging. Oh, also, let me get the words off your face, Tara. We can do better production than that. There we go. My apologies. There's a way in here where I think I can make it such that we're not. I'll just stand by while we build some dreams together. There's a way in which I can make it so that, yeah, there you go. You can see our names and who we are. And I feel good about that. Emergent strategy. Okay, nothing is forever, you silly bitch. Let it go. Make time. Show up. Mess up and be real about it. Care about other people. Show accountability, consistency, and integrity. Reciprocate effort. We're going to come back to this in a second. Make plans. Listen to the person in front of you. Ask about them. Communicate your feelings and understand your needs. Be loyal. Speak in honesty. Say thank you. Also, I'll add to that, say please, which Tara taught me this year how to say again. Draw boundaries. Don't interrupt. So hard for me. Pay attention. Spend quality time. Be considerate. Audit your values. Learn about emotions. Enjoy the moment and have fun. Let the positive energy become contagious. Top 3, if you don't have to squint and see it, Tara. Oh, you have notes. You have notes of your own. We're professionals.
I actually just zoomed it in on the other screen there, right there. So I might just do the whole day here in this here Minnesotan accent. For the ratings, maybe y'all will learn a thing or two. Maybe you can imitate this for your next audition for Fargo. Okay, because you all know that Fargo was not actually filmed in Fargo. It was filmed in Minnesota. It's filmed in these here parts of Minnesota. I'd never seen the movie Fargo, but my mama tells me that Fargo was filmed here. Anywho, my top three here. Ooh. I think audit your values. So sorry, I just heard slamming and was trying to make sure that the doggies did not bark. Audit your values. Let the positive energy become contagious. And I would love for show up, period, to be show up, comma, mess up, comma, and be real about it. I like that show up's by itself. Show up, mess up, and be real about it. Be my top 3. Yeah.
Show up, mess up, and be real about it.
Mm-hmm.
Are you speaking to that like that? Okay, so we're gonna unpack like for like 60 seconds without trauma dumping, which is allowed here, by the way. If you got a trauma to dump, just put it in the trauma pile. We meditate.
It's actually a chest of drawers. It's rather large. It's the wardrobe that brings us to Narnia. That's the type of wardrobe for the trauma. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It is definitely that singing lady in Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah.
The
Yes.
one with the high
It was
note.
played by Audra McDonald in the live action version, just so you know.
I
Um,
did not know that. Now I want to watch that now.
you've never seen the live action? We should schedule a movie night.
Live actions kind of scare me a bit. And a shout out to Paul Monty Living. Paul Monty Living is giving love over on Instagram. It's over on YouTube as well. Andre and the Flow on YouTube if you want to see Tara's face and see the whole visual. But like Beyonce said, you are the visual, baby. I'm gonna tag you though. Thank you for playing along. You know as well as anybody else that it's hard to like get people in a space and get the energy kind of flowing. But Paul Monty Living, in addition to being a person who literally bought groceries for Poppy Water and I in a really, really low period of our lives, you're one of those unforgettable rock stars. You and Stella sent us dead presidents when we were struggling to eat. And so I bear witness to your true spirit and the spirit of generosity, which is also the theme in Love and Action Network this week. But I will always see it for you. And I may not always have the money myself, but I will always honor you and support you with whatever you're doing because you saw about me when I needed a banana. When I needed a banana. Right? I love you too. I really do. And I see you interviewing and still flowing. And we've got 4 more slots on the stage because we want your perspective here, and we also want you to shill your shit. Because for what we're walking in and what we're living through under this regime for another 4, we're going to really need. I don't want to do this because sometimes this ain't it either. But I don't know nothing about Black Mama or White Mama, but I know Palmani Living. And for those of you listening to the podcast, that's PALMANILIVING, Paul Money Living. They sponsored Tara. Thank you for letting me take this personal privilege. They sponsored a day in the park to ground yourself as a kind of a remote thing where you go to your personal park, you have your own ritual, but then you play along with the playlist and things. I don't want to give away too much of their sauce. But it was kind of this really grounding community joining of mind that I think is really, really going to be important with where we're going. Also, shout out to Stacia. Stacia is my therapeutic.
Stacia, I love you.
Stacia, we love you. And I talked to Stacia. Stacia wants to come on too. But see, Stacia and Paul Monty Living, you and me talking about nothing is forever, you silly bitch.
Nothing is forever, you silly bitch.
Nothing is forever, you silly bitch.
Be real about it.
Huh?
I was just reading the rest of it. Show up, mess up, and be real about it.
Can you so I'm an all-consuming fire. I'm one with God, and God is an all-consuming fire. Can you tell the folks about a time when you showed up, messed up, and you just had to be real? Because it's so easy to fall into like that embarrassment place of like I fucked up, and now I got to do the whole like embarrassment porn. I can't say that on TikTok. Sorry, TikTok. Corn.
We're talking about corn. It was a
porn.
mislead.
Anybody ever like fucked up and then you felt this need to like go through the whole embarrassment ritual instead of just being real about it?
Yeah, and I think some people go through an embarrassment ritual that includes like ingratiating themselves and like making the story worse than it is, right? Like and depleting themselves, and that don't work. Like the time that always comes up for me when I think about like, ooh, you showed up, you messed up, and you did it anyway, and it has nothing to do with the internet, y'all. It wasn't before the internet, but y'all know how academia is. They're scared of live streams. They're moving, but they're scared of live stream. Anyway, so I did a masterclass, recital hour, something. I was in grad school, and I was singing this. It's called Regatta Veneziana, I believe, and it is by Uh, ooh, well, Cecilia Bartoli, she sings it. Um, anyway, it's a Venetian set of songs, and I was singing it, the second song, and in the middle, I just completely like I had no, your brain just goes blank. And I had to go over to the piano, and I literally said to the audience, I was like, "Excuse me, I got to go look at the music." Like, and that's, did anything bad happen to me? No. Your screen is still shared. I'm just letting you know. I hope that we're supposed to be showing what you're showing. I just didn't want you to show anything you didn't want to show. He was about to go DM somebody. Anyway,
Mommy, we love you. No, Dr. Flo never, unless there's something in the history, Dr. Flo never does naughty things on the work computer. It is corporate computer, so there's no way that we would have slipped into something. But thank you always for open mic. I'm trying to text message Stacia, General Stacia, the message to listen. They don't call her the chief operations for nothing. So you're about to expose your whole network. Doing it again. It isn't like nothing to protect.
There's the YouTube station. We love you.
YouTube so you can see Tara's beautiful face and also the visual if you want to. Yeah, that's
and we want your face here, Stacia. So
yes,
much when you're available.
Thank you, Tara.
There have been many a time that I have showed up and messed up and skipped over words. I mean, like literally every boost, y'all, like every boost, Dr. Flo and I flub some reading somewhere. We read the wrong words and life goes on, right? Sometimes you show up, there was a conversation going around, and maybe it wasn't a conversation going around, but Portia.Noir was talking about this, like how much YT and ruling class people really want to be correct before they show up, right? They want to like perfect the message before they show up. It's like actually showing up, messing up, and being real about it is what we need you to do, right? As Dr. Flo plays with all the tools.
Listen, I don't mind my face being covered by the step and repeat down below, but I don't mind being muzzled. I just don't want to do it to you.
No, it's fine. Also, you could just move your camera down. That's what I was going to do.
Oh.
What are your top 3 from this? Or what was the impetus for bringing this to Deconstruction Junction today?
First of all, I think that for the times we're living in, we don't need I don't like colory language. I used to be a person that wanted the whole flow, it's gonna be okay and soft kind of things. For where I am right now in my life and the launch that I want to do, and for the things and the ways I want to show up for the community and the things I want to do, I need a message like nothing is forever, you silly bitch. Let it go.
Nothing is forever. Even though the internet is forever, but nothing is forever. Nothing and everything is forever.
I've already cloned myself. I told you I was going to clone myself. And I've already cloned myself. And so I'm going to be saying, you're loved and lovable, you're loved and lovable, you're loved and lovable until the world blows up. We're here forever. The question is, what's going to be the quality of our lives in the present moment? How are we going to live just for today? And the three that stick out for me would be, learn about emotions. I'm gonna get to your comments. I'm gonna read every one of them right now. Well, not right now, but in 10 seconds. Learn about emotions. Let the positive energy become contagious. Yeah. Like a really, really awful cold or the flu, we can give negative vibes to nobody can sneeze a negative vibe on each other quicker than Priolo and I. We're sponges, and it's just kind of that's my work wife. So if I'm in a really shitty place, it's so easy for that shitty place to be really shared. And it does not feel good when the negative energy is contagious. I'm grateful for healing modalities. I'm grateful for honesty and integrity and love that is anchored in truth, even the harshest of ones. Ouch, ack, It's like et tu brute at times. We
A2 Brute.
what
You say like ete or something.
et that brute? Et that brute? We got comments. We got comments today, and we're so grateful for comments. I'm so glad we changed the slot for comments. Oof. I just did an astrology read that dragged me so hard about my path leading towards serving and away from ego. Poppy Waters says that I'm experiencing an ego death in my life right now by the things I go through and I'm going through. I'm with you on that. Also, which reminded me that I need to just do the work of service even if I'm scared or feel unprepared. Yes. Service is a wonderful, energetic life equation, I guess I should say, because we affirm in this community all the time that the things that we give out is what comes back to us multiplied. I've yet to give love out. I mean, there have been times where my love given has not been appreciated. You know what I mean? Sometimes you give love to people and it kind of falls to the floor or they don't absorb it because they don't know Badum Tish, they're loved and lovable. And
Yeah,
so,
or that's our perception because people don't accept love in the same ways, right? So we can shove something that we think that another person will love in their face over and over and over again, and they will never receive it in a way that we want them to receive it because it's not a thing that they can receive, right? And yeah, that does have something to do with you are loved and lovable, but it also does have something else to do with that we just all receive and recognize love and care in completely different ways, right? So nothing is forever, you silly bitch.
nothing is forever, you silly bitch. All right, let's go up a
I want to
little.
read that one.
Okay.
Because actually I'm guessing it's Stacia commenting. They jogged this to my brain, so I'll tell y'all why I brought this, but I just want to read it first. It says, it's from Sharon Says So, shared it, which like Sharon is vibes like 94% of the time. And the other 6% of the time, she is very much a Duluthian white lady. Like she literally lives in Duluth, Minnesota. Like I could go drive and visit her. Anyway, this is the quote. Saruman believes it is only great power that can hold evil in check. But that is not what I have found. I have found it is in the small everyday deeds of ordinary folk that keep the darkness at bay. Small acts of kindness and love. And that is Gandalf from, you guessed it, the Lord of the Rings. And we were just talking about service. And a lot, and I've been talking about this on my page a little bit, which is like, I think sometimes we think that service and like liberation and freedom and, fighting, sticking it to the man and like fighting this regime has to look like big, grandiose action. And the reality is, as Christiana Smith talks about all the time, is that really we should be looking for little glimmers of liberation in our daily lives. Really, we should be doing daily disruption. Really, like me bringing Piper to a board meeting, right? Really, we should be celebrating our small acts of kindness and love, as Gandalf says to us, because it isn't that power fights power, right? I mean, MLK said something to this effect, right? That there's not really, the opposite of hate isn't love, right? We can't fight power with power. We fight hate with kindness, with small acts of care. And so I just thought that this was like a really poignant quote to have found, to also include everyone in the work, right? And this is something that I think we referenced a couple weeks ago, which is like, there are, and we will do it, because Flo's writing it in the notebook right now. I see him going for it. We're going to talk about the roles in liberation, in social justice work, in the process to bringing the revolution forward. But what we have to acknowledge is it's not going to just be one grandiose sweep of all of the horrible, powerful people are gone. That's not how this is going to work. It's going to work in the daily conversation and the daily communication. And there is a task that each and every single one of us can do, right? And it's going to be small because we all have capacity. So that's why I brought that. I just thought it was a really, I love Lord of the Rings as well. And it's generated a lot of, I shared it to my stories and I've gotten like 10 DMs about it. So yeah.
Lots of chatter amongst the lovers and friends. I'm with it. I wrote down in my notes while you were speaking a bunch of things, especially about including everyone in the roles of enlightenment as we elevate one another, as we liberate people from the delusions of supremacy and the phobias and anti-womanhood, anti-trans people, anti-black, anti-other. As we do this work, we must always remind people, and I'm just saying again what you said, small acts can happen at any level of experience. You don't need to be experienced to do a small act of kindness and love. You don't need to have degrees. You don't need to have an abundance of time. You don't need to leave the house. You don't need to spend money. I have a challenge, tell 5 people today that you know or you don't know that they're loved and lovable, and mean it. And you get extra points if you tell them that they're loved and lovable, and then you tell them why that's true. Tara's loved by her family. She's also loved by me and Poppy Water, and she's lovable because she has a truly nurturing heart. She truly cares for the things that she cares about. Now, she doesn't care about the things she don't care about, child. But the things that she does care about, which is a lot of things, Gaza, Sudan. Who else is on your list of care and like global
Congo,
concern?
the Uyghurs, Ethiopian crisis there, Taiwan, like, my God, the Ukrainians, my God, the people underneath Netanyahu, the Israeli people, like these are things that we don't like. Yeah, everybody deserves to eat. Everybody. Oh, yes. Great place to go. I see you. Poverty exists not because we cannot feed the poor, but because we cannot satisfy the rich. The rich.
Eat the rich. Eat the rich, I say. Let's put barbecue sauce on them. Of course, I'm joking a bit, you guys. But what we need to understand is that we are in a very abundant universe. And the reason why I brought this week to deconstruct and to talk about is because Poppy always reminds me that the BlackBerry Bush, labor notwithstanding for the capitalists in the room, for the venture capitalists and capitalists in the room, labor notwithstanding, okay, the labor costs notwithstanding, the blackberry bush and the strawberry bush gives to us from the earth for free. We're the ones who put gates around the fields and say, now the strawberry costs money. Now the flower costs money. And I'm not trying to pretend like, once again, for the capitalists in the room, I'm not trying to pretend that energy is just like it comes from out the sky. I know that people are um, jokes within jokes, wind harvesting for wind farms.
Wind farms. Yes.
And so I know that this stuff requires a certain amount of effort to build infrastructure around, but the land gives to us freely and the sky gives to us freely, and yet we cannot figure out how to feed and house these people. You know, just that basic. We talk almost every deconstruction junction every week about decency and morals and human rights and responsibility. And how is it that we have all of these neighbors who are like unhoused and unfed and uncared for? And meanwhile, Oprah is pretending, did I bring this up last week? Pretending to walk the streets and drive her own cars and things.
I don't know that you brought up the Oprah thing.
Maybe I was riffing about it one night and in the midst of
Yeah.
Hababab. But yeah, she said that she didn't receive any campaign funds from Kamala. But then there's two $500,000 payments on behalf of the campaign to Harpo Inc., which of course is for. And she said, "Well, in fact, I wasn't paid. I did it for free, but my company needed to pay the people to hang the lights and all that stuff." So essentially, her business did benefit from the campaign,
Mm-hmm.
but the way that she was caught in a back alley somewhere in California, walking up the hill by herself without security, in that planted Oprah. Come on. You could have had them. You could have sent a reporter. You could have paid a reporter to ask you at the next red carpet event, pretending that some guy with a single camera from TMZ or any other affiliate is walking up to Oprah in an alley where she's by herself trying to figure out how to use a car, a hybrid. In what world is Oprah in a back street fumbling to get into a hybrid with one other guy with a camera talking to her? Just so that she can say, I never received any campaign funds. And then you go into the campaign records that are public knowledge and you see two line items: $1 million, $500,000, which is probably the cap of what you can do without being flagged at the time. And then there's another $500,000 check to Harpo Inc. And then after that was discovered, she went under a post on social media and said, I didn't receive the fee. I did it because I believed in the candidate, but my company and the team needed to be properly compensated for my lights. She paid me for my lights, and she paid me for the TVs, and she paid my people, but she never, ever, ever paid me. And I'm thinking about the $1 million that could have gone to like feeding the people in that town where they sat in that studio. They could have used a fucking gymnasium for clout. They could have used a gymnasium and lit it with a flashlight. But no. Let's not take care of the poor. Let's not take care of the needy. Let's not take care of our veterans who are struggling in all areas of society. Let's just let Oprah be Oprah and sit there and act like she's giving it her time freely, but she's sitting there for $1 million that's paid into Harpo, but she's sitting there for $1 million. She's sitting there for, and I used to be a real big Oprah fan, but I can't figure out why we've got so much, but we know white supremacist Delulu, and it's entered the chat. If y'all get offended by white supremacist Delulu, you got to go.
Now's your time.
Yeah, grab your purse now, girl. If you don't want to talk about white supremacist Delulu, but it's anchored culturally. We lost one, Tara, to the fire over here on TikTok.
Uh-oh.
But you bringing up the Delulu, you're gonna lose somebody. But we got to talk about the fact that this is made up stuff. I'll land here by saying that I first experienced this what we're talking about right now, but when I worked in food service, and I realized how much food was being thrown out every night from the Cracker Barrels that I worked in, and the Red Lobsters, and I'm like, this food is not going into the community to keep people alive. It's going in the trash under capitalism because one of the chief tenets and pillars of white supremacist Delulu and capitalism, also known as crapitalism, is greed and scarcity. And it will not save our bacon in the end. It just will not. It just will not. Oh my gosh, I am so sorry. I just here
Oh, hi,
I
Tisha.
apologize. I just, we're easing back. We're only in season 3.
And we've rotated platforms quite a few times, so you are forgiven. I don't eat meat, but I love fats.
Y'all, everybody in the church, just stretch your hands towards General Stacia. They are dealing with cholesterol, and so they got to cut all of their nuts and their
Oh
fats.
no!
Yeah,
They
yeah.
know. They
I would
know.
not be talking about it publicly, except that they brought it up in the chat. But yeah, no, no nuts, no oil, no heavy olive
No,
oil.
no, 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 no. What I want to say is that we collectively, not necessarily those of us in this podcast, but we collectively have allowed for philanthropy to be defined as what it is, which is like billionaires are giving $1 million and being applauded for it. Exactly, Piper. Exactly. And so, like, do I believe that there is a world that Oprah, yes, could be in a back alley somewhere, needing help with her car, and like in a world that was free and fair? Absolutely, right? But like that's not this world. But I also, it's bad for her image because she's an independent, and so taking money directly from a Democratic organization is bad news bears. Bless you, baby. So like but we have control. This is the thing. Like, and I was telling one of our Meow Mix Martha, I was talking to Martha in DMs the other day. This has nothing to do with money, but it has everything to do with I had shared a video into my stories, into my close friends, of this teacher who was touching a student. Like, in like the video we watched yesterday, like, I mean, and this teacher didn't even like ask consent. Like yesterday, the teacher at least said, like, I hope you don't mind if I touch you. And it was like, but we all do. But like this teacher literally just like handled this student and was like touching the student like here. It was weird. And, and I had said something like, why are we still touching people? And this poor voice. And, Martha said something along the lines of like, yeah, but that's all the musical theater spaces all want the belting, da, 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 da. And I was like, well, only because we let them, right? And only because that's all we're sending them. Like, if we as artists choose something different and walk in the door with something different, the industry has to change. But the impetus is on us to change it, right? And so this is the same thing that we're talking about here with like philanthropy, and how, yes, no one in the world needs to be hungry. No one in the world needs to be houseless. No one in the world needs to suffer to live. But we allow it collectively to be true, instead of changing it within our own community. Back to it, one small act of kindness and love at a time, right?
I love it. I love it here. I love it here. I don't love it everywhere, but I do
Love it here.
love it here. I do. I do.
Mm-hmm.
The word of the moment for me in these times, as we walk and step towards regime and insanity, which is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. As we walk towards all of that as a global community, I'm grateful for refuge. And I'm grateful for refuge with people who have some damn sense. Because the company you keep is the company you keep. And I'm grateful to be loved and lovable enough to be around people who want to speak up about things and call things as they see it, unapologetically and unafraid. Next up, I bring a sort of knowledge is collaborative vibe to community spaces that people who stake their self worth or hierarchy. I'm sorry, one more time. I'll run it right back. I bring a sort of knowledge is collaborative vibe to community spaces that people who stake their self worth on hierarchy don't really like. Have you ever been in a space, and let us know in the chat, have you been in a space where you wanted to share the knowledge and give the stuff out, and people were like, let's not give them everything. Let's keep a little.
Yeah, absolutely. I talk about hierarchies a lot because
Talk me out of them even more.
Right. Well, because it is a facet of white supremacy, right? It is built and capitalism for sure. It preserves the protection of the top 1%, and I ain't about that. And in fact, I was literally just having a discussion with someone in Facebook comments about putting, like, they were like, make sure you put, copyright or da 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 at the bottom of your page. And I said, if somebody's going to share it, they're not going to like, the person that they shared it with is not going to come back to me just because I put my name on the bottom of the paper. And why should I have to gatekeep that knowledge? Who cares if they share the link, right? Like, and I just, like, it's a conversation about intellectual property, but what really is intellectual property in the age of the internet? I mean, that's just like kind of crazy talk to me. But yeah, I really, there's a lot of people, I think, that don't even realize that they're staking their self-worth on hierarchy, right? Because that's part of facing, a large part of activism to me, and a large part of anti-racism work and social justice work is facing the music, as it were. It is facing exactly who you are and how you benefit from the privilege that you were born with in that hierarchy. So, like, I really think there's a lot of people that rely on it without knowing, and not like, I was like, who is that? Is you. I bring a sort of knowledge is collaborative vibe to community spaces. And yes, like, we want to be in communal space where it's just shared knowledge for no other reason than we all benefit, right? As you talk about all the time, all the boats rising at once, right? One boat rises and we all sort of go like this together. And that can't happen if one boat is taking all of the wind, right? Can't happen. Yeah. I love that.
Or if we're not listening and we're taking up all the air in the conversation. We were listening to a podcast. Tara hosts a bunch of socially conscious, sometimes political, sometimes not motivated podcast listens in the morning as part of our network, for which we are so grateful. And one of the tools that was expressed this week as a chief tool to be used in the work of social liberation and justice is listening. If you're out here wanting to be a baby activist, and we're going to be bringing a bunch of baby activist trainings to you all over on TikTok, Instagram, and we see you out there. We know that you want to do more and that you want to grow your courage and your confidence and learn how to speak up. We know that you want to learn how to speak up and say things even in the comment section under posts of people who are speaking up. We know that that wants to happen. And so speaking up is important in this liberation work. However, we really want you all to also understand, and I'm working on understanding what a power it is in listening to someone else's story and point of view. Everybody, regardless of whatever red hats they wear or blue bracelets or whatever's going on, everybody as a human wants to be happy, healthy, and free. There's not a single person under the sound of my voice right now, if you're over on Spotify or Apple Podcast or Google Podcast, wherever you're sourcing this, there's not a single person who, YouTube, Facebook, beyond. We all want happiness, healthiness, and freedom in areas of our lives. And that's very universal. And so if we see that in other people, we'll start to listen. Oh, this is how that person feels disenfranchised by the ruling class and the people in power, the 1%. This is how they feel like they don't belong. Because none of us belong, bitch. But that's how they feel they don't belong, and then they align with the loudest buffoonish, coonish and buffoonish voices even as well, in the spaces. How long have we been talking? Paolo, let's land here and leave. Unless there's something else that I'm missing in the notes. Is there something that
I just want to tack on one thing? If you scroll to the top, it's in our notes, but there's also
because this episode can be like literally.
It could be 3 hours long. But I just wanted to highlight
We
that.
didn't even talk about Benny Hinn with the booty.
I know, but I'm going to talk about the thing right under Benny Hinn's booty.
Okay.
Which connects to what you were just talking about, which is not Benny Hinn. Which you were just saying, like how people are scared. Go on, you can do it. Guys, we're trying to crawl around here, and like we get up on the legs and it's like, come on, baby, go. And every time we just lay back down. That probably hurt. We may need to, nope, we're okay. All right. So one of my mentors, and Fiona Flight, asked me this question yesterday in terms of like, again, people want to be bold, but then they're scared to be bold, right? And a lot of times that has to do with, ooh, what are people going to think about me? I don't want to get called out in the comment section. I don't want to make a fool of myself, da, 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 da. Like, where did we start this episode, yo? Did we start this episode? Show up, mess up. Yeah, and be real about it.
Be real about it.
So she asked me, is the pain that you would go through from losing a few people worth the number of people that you could help by simply showing up, messing up, and being real about it, right? And my answer, like I really sat with it, and I was like, yeah, it is. Even if those people are the people closest to me, like it is worth losing a good friend to help thousands, right? It is worth losing a couple friends. Well, that's not good. Oh no, we're okay. It's worth losing a couple friends. What? to better even 10 people, right? It's that conversation about what are you willing to give up in order to make the world a more livable place, or the place that you believe the world should be. So that's where I would love to land. You are on mute.
Wow.
I thought you were doing the wow like Sunny does, but you didn't do
wow. No, like we're at 48 minutes, and I feel like if I start to go into Benny Hinn's booty and ass as a sin, if we start talking about adopting an artist, if we start talking about Black Project 2025, if we start talking about the Beatitudes, if we start talking about the paradox of tolerance, if we start talking about John Leone and Assata Shakur and the 54% of American adults who read below a 6th grade level, girl, if we do that, we're going to have a T.S. Madison episode that's 4 hours. And just wait until we get the other featured hosts, the featured guest hosts.
I know, but this is also why y'all got to come back every week. We may be changing the time because weekends, sometimes we're convinced by other people that we should rest, and sometimes we don't want to talk to you all. So we may be changing the time to be during the week again. So just stay tuned to that, and stay tuned to other voices coming on, because we are very excited about bringing other voices throughout the podcast, whether that be Deconstruction, Junction, or other facets. People like Stacia and people like Joyous Windrider Jimenez, who have already been on the podcast, but that are hopefully coming back, and new people that you haven't heard from, like Wrath of Lynn over on TikTok. Like Izuku will hopefully come on sometime. These people that are kind of floating in the
Poppy
wind.
Water said he'll
Yeah.
make some appearances.
Polymani, who I met earlier on Instagram. So hopefully you will be hearing from new voices very, very soon. Not that we don't love ourselves, but that the conversation and the knowledge is not worth gatekeeping. We're expanding. Enlarge my territory. Yeah, you got to take it though, because I ignore the words of that song because I don't like it. But that's
It was so, but your rendition of the gospel standard was just, oh, chef's kiss. Yeah. Just like the universe is ever expanding, so too is our network, so is your heart, so is to your dream, so is to your dream. So is your dream as well. That baby's expanding and growing. I'm growing spiritually, emotionally, physically, mentally, all in all the ways. I would like to thank all of you for showing up today. That is the hardest thing that one can do at times. It can be the most challenging thing in life to just show up. If you are in your life listening now in live taping or in the Substack replay, or if you're listening like so many friends all over the world on Spotify, just know that Tara and I, in the same ways that we're proud of that baby for giving crawling a shot and keeping at it, we're also proud of all of you for, in your own ways, figuring out how to crawl. I'm privileged to be a family member of the Praolos, that loud brother-in-law at the function, telling that lady, I said 2 wings, don't play with me. I said 2, but we got to get through all these people on the line. I said 2 wings. Don't make me show out in here at the Praolos function. But anyway, I'm kidding, y'all. We're just, I got to see that baby do downward dog today, like almost into downward dog, and they're just coming into alignment with their growth process, and we're doing the same. And we're grateful for your participation in your growth process and the growth process of the network. So you can check out Tara Praolo right here across socials at Tara Praolo Studio. For the listeners, TARAPRIOLO Studio with the very cheesy grin. And then I'm Andre in the Flow on all platforms. Yeah, and sometimes Andre with the fro, but Andre in the flow. Until next time, on behalf of all of our healing practitioners and light workers in Love and Action Network, we are so thrilled by your joy. Remember, joy is contagious. As Tara always says, joy is the revolution. And I want to encourage everybody on behalf of all of us to stay in your joy, stay in your power, stay loved and lovable. And we will see you very, very soon around the network. Check out our calendar at the link in bio for the next time we'll be together. We love you guys.